Welcome to the Modern Watchman podcast, where faith meets the front lines of culture.
We break down what's happening in the world, what's behind it, and how believers can stand strong in truth.
We're not here to fear the times, we're here to understand them.
Because being watchmen means staying awake, staying ready, and staying grounded in the Word.
Let's get into it.
Welcome to the Modern Watchman podcast. I'm Tom.
And I'm Wendy. Man, one day. You're just going to say it like a normal human. Maybe.
Welcome to the Modern Watchman podcast. I'm Tom.
No, with Tom and Wendy.
Welcome to the Modern Watchman podcast with Tom and Wendy.
And then like a normal human, not like AI.
Welcome to the Modern Watchman podcast with Tom and Wendy.
We'll work on it.
Welcome to the Modern Watchman podcast with Tom and Wendy.
Okay, now you're just obnoxious. We're moving on. And we're going to talk today about Epstein.
Yeah, we're not moving on. Okay.
Yeah, we're never going to move on. We're going to talk about it until Trump hears our voice loud and clear. We want Epstein, all of it, not some of it, all of it.
Oh, I don't want Epstein. I want Epstein's employers.
Okay, well, we're going to talk about what is the real reason we cannot let Epstein fall out of the news cycle or be brushed aside or be called a hoax or be, not, what's the word? Honored for the actual disaster that it is.
It has to be gotten to the bottom of.
It has to be gotten to the bottom of. We're going to talk about why. We're going to talk about the history leading up to what is happening right now. But obviously, we just had Congress vote almost unanimously to disclose the files, okay? And then immediately after that, the Senate did I didn't even know they could do that. They didn't do a voice by voice vote. They just said, is anyone objecting to a unanimous vote? And nobody objected. Why don't we just do that every time?
If only it was that easy.
And then, of course, Trump signed it. So apparently 50,000 new pieces of paper will come out. But there's been a lot of talk, not just on social media, but also in our household, about the infighting on the right because of Epstein. And so I feel like this is all connected and relevant. And I'll say, yes, there is more to the Epstein story than people maybe are thinking that there is. And again, if you've been a listener, we've probably talked about this. So you've probably picked up on it, but we're going to lay out the case. And because some people are just absolutely unwilling to let it go and will call Trump names to make sure he really hears them. And that's going to compel him to do the right thing, apparently. And then some of us think there's a constructive way to call out the people that have the power to really disclose. And the truth of the matter is, Trump could have disclosed all this without Congress.
I've heard that debated. I mean,
that maybe he can, maybe he can't.
Well, there's a whole bunch of stuff that, again, I'm not an attorney, but classified documents are supposed to, before they're unclassified, to go through the agency that classified them in order to be released, which, when you think about it, is a joke.
Who classified those documents? Congress?
Well, I wouldn't be surprised if there's classified FBI documents, classified other DOJ documents, classified CIA documents.
Trump can unclassify anything he wants just by saying it's unclassified. We already learned that in the trials that happened regarding his unclassified documents, or classified documents, rather. But all that to say, I think the optics actually look better when Congress almost unanimously votes to disclose all the documents. Then it doesn't come across as a political ploy or retaliation or revenge or blah, blah, blah.
I kind of want to just like go around all the drama and silliness and the semantics of the documents and the release and all that, because like I know it's been so, like, I'm very happy that Thomas Massey and Marjorie Taylor Greene and everybody, like, I'm glad that they stuck with it. I'm glad that it's happening, but let's just like judge it by the fruit.
Oh,
you know what I mean?
absolutely,
Like, let's
because-
just see what actually comes from it.
Yeah, for the
And
record.
who cares about, all the other, what may or may not happen in regards to that. And then also like the big thing, like I know we talked about it in the last podcast, and I'm going to say it again because it's right now we're focusing so much on the list, who's on the list and all this. And really and truly, we have to go take a step back and go, what was this all about? Like, was this just about like rich and powerful people getting their rocks off by diddling kids? Like, there was more to it, believe it or not. And actually it makes a lot of sense that there would be more to it. And actually, again, I'm going to bring up Whitney Webb. She was a fantastic investigative journalist, independent. She wrote a 2-volume book on the history of sexual blackmail in America. And
that she speaks directly about Epstein and all of it.
well, this is how crazy thorough she is when she wrote a book about the Epstein thing, she went all the way back as far as she could find to the beginnings of an government, intelligence agency, basically government endorsed sexual blackmail. That we have a long history of either partnering with the mob or partnering with foreign intelligence or partnering with, it's usually organized crime, obviously, that's who, has prostitutes and prostitution and those kinds of things. Human trafficking is usually an organized crime, usually. But how the long history of that. So like, this is not the first time. That's what she wanted to establish, is that like, this is not a one-off thing, nor is it the first time, but actually this is something that is well documented that we have partaken in for over 100 years.
You're speaking of sexual blackmail.
Sexual blackmail.
Which
now,
would be setting someone up with a minor,
no,
videoing them, whatever.
Sexual blackmail. Remember, our standards were higher back then. So just being with a prostitute was a scandal at one point.
Or knowing you cheated on your wife with anyone.
Any number of things, right? So like just that kind of stuff was, a lot of it was homosexual or, different things that were.
So if someone knew about it, they could blackmail you into voting the way that they wanted you to, saying, supporting, etc.
J. Edgar Hoover was big on it. He also was a victim of it. We have a long and crazy history with it. Like, it's a real thing.
Sure.
And so, so basically, they get you in exploited in these odd situations that would be very, very, very detrimental to you as a politician or a powerful person or a bureaucrat or anything. I mean, there's so many, it's not just Congress people. You know what I mean? Sure. Like, it can be heads of agencies or powerful businessmen or,
or Prince Andrew or whatever his name is.
Yeah, anyone that is worth blackmailing, right? Basically. And once they have your number, then favors can be called in, or, you can be told to stand down on an issue or to support an issue or to maybe write a check to an organization supporting something to help a covert intelligence operation, all these different things. Like, the world is their oyster once they have hundreds of people exploited in this way. And the Epstein, what do you call it? Saga is that. Now,
it is a systemic, large structural sexual blackmail organization.
Operation. Yeah. And
Epstein is but one
it was
player.
And that I'm glad you said that. Epstein was an important element of that operation.
But not the head of the snake.
But who was his boss? Because he had one.
Right.
And this is something
who unalived him.
We're kind of led to believe that he was it.
A mastermind.
That don't look beyond Jeffrey Epstein.
Right.
And of course they thought by killing him, it would kind of make it go away, and they could say, well, we got him and it's over. He's in jail. Oh no, he's dead now. That's done. There's nothing more to see. When actually it was an operation that was most likely sanctioned by an American intelligence agency. And I say an American intelligence agency because we have dozens of them. We are familiar with
some of them.
A few of them. Most people just think the CIA but there's the NSA is the largest of them. So I don't know, many people may not even have heard of the NSA, and that's bigger than the CIA.
National Security
Agency. And
then what is Tulsi the head of?
Tulsi, what is her title? She's the head of all of the intelligence community, basically.
I know, what is it? Director
of National DNI, Director of National Intelligence. Yeah. And there's the DI
Diversity,
Department.
Equity, and too many
There's
acronyms.
I forget what their Defense Intelligence Agency, DIA. I think literally, I believe, I want to say we have dozens of them.
Okay, so lots of people we don't even know.
So
about.
It's important to note it might not be the CIA that was involved. It could have been a different agency, and just think about that. If you can only name off one American intelligence agency, just think that
we're supposed to be the boss of the government.
If there are even 4 others, you didn't know that.
Yeah.
You didn't know that. And I'm not condemning you. I'm just saying that's interesting, right? There's whole, portions of the government we didn't even know existed.
Our tax dollars are supporting this. We should definitely have some overreach.
And so I'm not saying and this is the thing where when they can say, no, Jeffrey Epstein had no ties to the CIA. And that's not necessarily a lie.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
Oftentimes they can look you straight in the face and tell the truth and lie to you in the same breath in that sense. So if that might be true, he might not have anything to do with the CIA, but maybe he had something to do with you know what I mean?
Yep.
And then, so it almost for sure, this operation was sanctioned by an or many American intelligence agencies. I would guess they had it siloed mostly inside of one for these exact reasons, so that only one had exposure to it. Mm-hmm. And then the other hand is it in an equal to or greater than capacity an Israeli intelligence agency. And it's
Do they have more than one?
Yes, but I don't understand the way theirs work exactly. The Mossad is their primary one, but they have it starts with a K, like the Knutz I forget. But I'm not really sure if that's a part of the Mossad or a separate thing. But here's an interesting note. This is a tangent, but it's important. And this is something I'm actually learning and trying to research on myself right now, is what we're getting into more and more. It used to be, I read a book post 9/11 by a guy who was in the CIA that talked a lot about just sort of the structure. Obviously, in order to publish a book as a former officer, you have to get permission. So he's only allowed to tell you what he's allowed to tell you. It's not super secret stuff. But the CIA, and I'm just talking about the CIA right now, not the other intelligence agencies, they might work differently, was really good at getting people in to everywhere, into positions. So every governor's office in America, so that's only 50 jobs, had a CIA liaison that was a CIA employee, basically.
And that's known to the governor or not?
Not always.
Not always.
Not always. Isn't that interesting? And So that's just an example. But then also, like if you take big, powerful
That's
companies.
terrible. Think about that.
Well, that's the tip of the iceberg, because then you take like companies like Apple. I promise you that there are multiple, if not dozens, of CIA employees, and maybe their official capacity is not an employee of the CIA, but they are working for the CIA.
Mr. and Mrs. Smith style.
And then go on and on. Banking institutions, financial institutions, tech firms, military industrial complex firms, universities, because that's where the CIA recruits from typically, is out of the university system. So, I mean, every impactful section of American life, the whole is, on some level, there is eyes and ears in the important boardrooms and etc. And then they also have kind of, one might call them a shell company or something, but they have companies set up as cover companies for agents that are really going to be working more around the world and stuff, where the company is some consulting firm.
That's more like Mr. and Mrs. Smith.
Yeah, and so there's an actual lady at the front desk that can like answer calls and
Patch you in.
and make sure that your cover is always there. Like, oh no, he's traveling in Tokyo right now, or he's out of town right now, or he's on vacation right now, or no, he's in the office.
He's in the bathroom.
And when they may not really be where they are, that kind of thing. And that provides cover for them to go on official business covertly and under the guise of being, a consultant for such and such a firm that's going to meet with, the oil companies in Iraq, or who knows what.
So the CIA, the what is that? Intelligence agencies are so prolific and so penetrated to every corner of every industry everywhere. And if you have them there, then you can see who you might need to compromise to get stuff done that the CIA wants. Is that why those people are there? Just to report back?
Yeah, I mean, I guess, to
influence,
to know what's going on and to have an ability to influence when necessary. And then just like contacts, right? So like, it's one of those things, when the 9/11 hijackers left, some of them came from Indonesia, some came from Saudi Arabia on their last leg. Like some spent some time in Thailand, right, before they went to San Diego. And you might call, the CIA asset, if you're a CIA agent, and you might go, who do I have in, and notify so-and-so that this person's there, or what do you know about, they just moved, they just went to this house and they're now renting a house at this, who's their landlord that set them up? I don't know, like there is definitely you have to have an intelligence, you can't have one point of contact. It's all about the network, the contacts into every little facet, right, is incredibly important.
You say all this to say.
Well, and then, so American intelligence, Israeli intelligence, and this is what we have to be screaming from the rooftops is, I don't ever want my government sexually exploiting children in order to blackmail powerful people that, for any reason.
Yeah, it's like to do any reason.
I have more to say, but that's enough right there. Like, that's enough. Like, and that's the thing that they're the most afraid of coming to light. They will throw every person on that list under the bus before they admit that this was state sanctioned.
Strings.
No, that this wasn't a random guy.
No, I know that they're pulling the strings behind the scenes.
That
They don't want, they would rather have every person on that list fall for pedophilia crimes
right.
than have to admit that they blackmailed these people for the purpose of control.
Oh yeah, it's protect the system at all costs.
They want to continue to blackmail these people for control, and they'll just get new people. So these current people they have are pawns that, yep, send them down the chute, send Epstein in. We gotta sacrifice Epstein. Oh, he's unalived. Sounds good. Maybe they'll stop looking at us.
Fundamentally, and it's important to note that it's bad enough that our government and Israel's government would sanction an operation that sexually exploited children, period. That's bad enough. But what they did was they used this blackmail in order to subvert our democratic process. We elect representatives, and they compromised these people, or worse, it's complicated. There's no I wish I could just make it super simple, but it's not. But remember, you see the grip that these lobbyists have over our, well, it doesn't even have to be the congressman that is compromised. If you have the biggest donor of that congressman compromised, do you see where I'm going with this?
Then that guy
can apply the pressure and say, oh, you're done, son. I will make sure and he's getting the order from somebody else because he's compromised.
Like, move your guy.
And he's saying,
get him.
He's on the phone with his congressman he owns and going, there's no way you're voting for this.
So that speaks to AIPAC and how involved, how, deep those tentacles go, which we're talking about Israel. So before we go that direction, I want to say that you would say your best evidence for these claims would be Webb and her book and her research.
My best recommendation is Webb, but again, I will also default to, I said this in another podcast, in the conspiracy theory world, and many of us who have watched conspiracy theories bear out from theory to fact, to verify, let's say from theory to verified, you understand that prior to the verification, you were very convinced. You were like, no, there's enough. I know that I don't have enough to convince a jury. You know what I mean? But it's clear as day. And that's some of the stuff that...
Well, I would argue that a lot of people feel it's clear as day that the earth is flat. And they could be wrong. They could be wrong.
Oh, yeah. No, and of course, there's always the chance you could be wrong.
Sure.
But it's one of those things it's the nature of the quote unquote conspiracy theory is that we're in a position where what do you have to find out whether JFK was killed? You have all the evidence and you look at it and you go, it stinks to high heaven. There's no way the official story is the official story. And you can't look at it what it is today. We cannot know precisely for sure every detail, but we have some very strong inclinations that it was not the guy they said it was, and likely the CIA, come to find out, with help and involvement of others.
So going back to why we can't let this go, it's not just about finding out who is a criminal, because that is important. And I honestly think that's where most people think the Epstein thing is going to end. This is where most people think that's what we're talking about here. And that is also probably why most people on the right are stop fighting with each other. Just let it go if it needs to be let go. Who cares? Blah, blah, blah. And we're no, we can't let it go because it's actually not really about that. Although that's important to know. It is about subverting the will, because there's not really a point of moving on and continuing to vote and continuing to trust in our representative government if it's compromised entirely.
What I'm getting at is that the fundamental reason why our government has been so dysfunctional.
Yeah.
Why our
It's 'cause
representative
it's not functioning the way it's
why
meant
our
to function.
representative government has not been representing us properly is, I'm not saying it's only this Epstein blackmail thing, but I think this is a substantial portion.
Yeah.
There may be other things that are similar or different,
Yeah.
you know, like in the same vein
Yeah.
that influenced in other ways, but like this is why we have been so frustrated with our government that doesn't represent us. This is one of the big chunks of it, of it's because people got blackmailed into not carrying out you and I's will
Yeah.
that we voted them into for because of outside,
Somebody has their number.
undeserved, extorted influence.
Yeah.
And that is what we have to get to the bottom of.
Okay, let's take it a step further into the Israel piece of this, and why we are so involved in this one other country more than any other country, as far as their defense, as far as being allied. It's like we're just absolutely best friends, and it's a toxic relationship. That is a piece of this, and you were talking about Ghislaine, or however you say,
Ghislaine or Ghislaine.
her dad.
Well, that's actually coming into the evidence element too. When we're talking about conspiracy theory evidence, how do we put this stuff together and be so confident in it when we don't necessarily have like the absolute,
Open and
closed case? But the two main players that we have been made aware of in the Jeffrey Epstein saga is Jeffrey Epstein himself and Ghislaine Maxwell. And both of these people have an insane amount of connections to intelligence agencies. And here's the thing. You will never, ever find a spy that the intelligence agency says they're a spy.
Yeah.
That's not how it works. That's literally the nature of the business, is that will never happen.
They will never claim you.
They will never claim you. And unless you are truly out of the game and writing a book, and you're still not out of the game, you're just writing a book now, you might move into a different section. Only then would you admit that you did that, or are a part of that, or have been a part of that, or had connections to that. But so again, you'll never get it's like in everything, it's like Jeffrey Epstein may have or may have not been connected to. It's like that's how you know. I literally don't know a single human being personally that works at the CIA that I'm aware of.
Didn't we know that neighbor guy?
He was Homeland Security. No.
Well,
Sure, he could have been the liaison.
so he
He was like, I think, Ivy League.
and he was at Langley.
That's true. That's true.
And
So
we knew he moved into our neighborhood just to watch us. I'm sure of it.
okay, so I met one guy
He was very nice.
who theoretically could have been once 10 or no, that would have been like 15 years ago.
He was very nice.
Very nice guy. But
Very spyish.
you probably, definitely, yeah. But yeah, it's like you and I, like our friends and neighbors, like how much connection, if someone did an investigation on us, how many ties could they tie us to foreign intelligence and American intelligence, right? Like I'm pretty confident there's zero ties for me that I'm aware
I
of.
was like, there's got to be ties to you. You've been saying so many crazy things on Facebook.
That's
for
not what
so
I'm
long.
talking about. I'm talking about like
You've been
he
assigned.
worked at this company that's affiliated with,
I see.
a front company, because, or you know what I mean? Like you'd have to.
I see. You don't know if you have a handler. You're just saying, I've never known.
No, I'm not talking about I'm on a list. That's different. I'm
on a
talking
list.
about affiliations.
One time we were on the airplane coming back from Hawaii, and a flight attendant came up and said, Thomas Cunningham? And he said, yes. And she marked something on her paper and walked away. You're so on a list. That is like literally you're on the list.
I was on her list.
She checked it.
There was a clipboard involved.
And I was like, I'm not, what? We're on the same reservation.
but what I'm saying is, if there are all these ties for these people, where it's like they're just like
They're swarmed.
they know there's ties to MI6, which is British intelligence. There's ties to the Mossad. There's ties to American
Literally
intelligence.
never heard MI6 in my life. Never heard of it.
Oh my goodness, that's a whole nother thing. But
Oh.
that was Jeffrey Epstein. Jeffrey Epstein was in and out of MI6 people's offices for years in London.
He was in and out.
He had plenty of connections to Mossad, including
Now
Ghislaine
do
Maxwell.
Ghislaine.
So Ghislaine Maxwell's, again, connections to the Mossad, sort of connections to MI6. But her father is arguably the most famous Israeli spy for the Mossad.
I thought they don't claim them.
Well, that's the best part, is even like to this day, the Mossad doesn't claim him.
Oh.
But he is buried in the National Cemetery with the highest honors
Okay. For being a regular guy.
for being a Israeli businessman. But
I see.
yes, he was
So
a
she
business
is
mogul.
Jewish.
Yeah.
There you go.
And I'm pretty sure Epstein
Yeah.
is a Jewish name too, but I don't.
Epstein's Jewish.
And again, I don't care about the ethnicity of this.
No, it's
but
just
like,
linking,
But
connecting.
yes. And Robert Maxwell is particularly famous, and this is where it's like he's openly a spy, but they just won't say it. It's just, that's not how it works. But there was a software that he sold or played a hand in selling, I believe, to the U.S. government.
Epstein?
No, Robert Maxwell,
Okay.
Ghislaine
Yep.
Maxwell's father, that had a back door programmed into it, which is basically like, for those who aren't aware, like a secret entrance into the software that someone else can keep the key to, that the people you sell it to will never see.
They don't know it's there.
They don't know it's there, but then you can get in and spy on them from there. It's classic spycraft. This was in like 80s, 90s or something like that.
Assume that exists in every
It
program.
was a massive scandal for the American government. The behind the scenes, not so much. I mean, it did make the news, no doubt, but like, people don't, it was one of those things, it was a way bigger deal than like the headline really, like people don't go, oh my gosh, that's a big deal.
That's for sure.
But it was a big deal in the government because basically Israel had a back door on like
Sure.
a government software that was throughout the government that had access to all sorts of things we would not have wanted anyone to have access to. And so he was, again, lauded on the Israeli side as like a
Way to get in there, my guy.
hero for his role in that. And that's just, again, we don't need to like go forever on Robert Maxwell, but
the reason why this is all relevant is if there are sound connections to Israel's intelligence agencies being involved in this scandal, then it goes one step further to, is it bad enough that our own government is subverting the sovereignty of the people? Is it even worse that a different country is pulling the levers and subverting the will of the people? Do you know what I'm saying? I mean, we do it. We go and subvert the will of the people all the time when we pull off coups and displace governments and, do our nation planting and all that good stuff. But I think it's pretty evil. It's pretty bad. And that is actually the underlying narrative that needs to be brought to the surface. That is what we need to demand transparency on. However, I happen to feel that it needs to happen, but it would be absolutely catastrophic. And I feel like I'm just not sure that we're like ready for it. You know what I mean? Like the cognitive dissonance is still so there that I think it will, like, people just won't believe it.
That's not
my
a
fear.
reason not to do
Of
it,
course,
in my
but
opinion.
that's my fear, because then it's like, what do we do with it? If nobody believes it, then it's just out and passes. It just goes away.
That is, believe me, I mean, I spent from 2000 to 2020 watching Americans behave that way about a number of massive things.
Look at Snowden.
Well, the Patriot Act, all the stuff post 9/11, those of us who were already awake watched the rest of America sleep through these things, and we're just like, I mean, it was like banging my head against the wall just for 2 decades, basically. Yes, Edward Snowden, massive
That's exactly
deal.
what I think is going to happen.
You might be right, because...
Well, let's talk about that. Just give the flyover of Snowden.
No, let's not jump off into that yet.
We're mentioning it. We're giving context.
Talking about...
Just give a 30-second overview. Snowden worked for what agency?
The NSA.
The NSA, National Security Agency.
He worked out of, in Hawaii.
Okay.
Was his actual location.
He discovered that
He didn't discover, he was just privy to it. He was read into it.
He became privy to it. He became aware
Yeah.
that the government was
I believe it was the PRISM project or software that... So basically, here's what it came down to. The post 9/11 Patriot Act, FISA warrants, where the government was now allowed to spy domestically with some loopholes, because
they had to have a FISA
there's
warrant
some constitutional
in order to do it.
There's there's some constitutional elements there where...
By constitutional elements, you mean blocks that they had to circumvent.
Yes, and they found ways, at least in some corrupt courts, in my opinion,
absolutely,
with some crafty legislation in the Patriot Act to basically weasel their way around the Constitution. This was America was sleeping. It was all done pretty much in the open, but we were just suckers and morons and asleep.
Well, Snowden revealed that they were doing it without even going through the loopholes.
Well, yes.
He revealed that they have the capability.
Part of it was that basically they filed like a FISA warrant for the whole nation, kind of thing, instead of doing
check.
And even that is kind of like, either way.
Well, this is why people put
the NSA
little stickers over their cameras. It's from Snowden, because he alerted the American people. They can literally turn on your phone and start listening. They can turn your camera on.
It's all being gathered all the time.
Right.
It's whether or not they go and look at it. Well, and that was some of the legal semantics is, the idea is, can your phone record you all the time?
Yes.
And is that a violation of your constitutional rights? And they are saying, well, no, we can record it all the time. But it's whether or not we go and listen to it and use it, and then we have to get permission. Does that make sense?
So if you're accused of a crime, we can get a warrant to go back and listen to all this stuff we've been collecting.
But so there were people in positions that were managing the equipment and the software, the server farms, the data that knew, I can look at anybody's computer
at any time,
any camera,
I could turn it on
a laptop or a phone at any time,
literally watch somebody undress,
and actually
they did.
Snowden, that was part of his examples where people were even abusing. These are federal employees.
They had specific women they liked to go watch. Gross.
All sorts of stuff.
Gross.
But see, here's the thing. Again, it's kind of like
This is not.
It's kind of like the Epstein thing, where that's horrible. That's a crime. That's horrible. But don't even be distracted by a guy in an office watching someone undress.
That's not the crime.
Because the point is that they are not supposed to be doing this. And so the House of Representatives is the representatives of the people, and the head of the NSA, the National Director of Intelligence and DNI, whatever, Director of National Intelligence, they are testifying under oath in front of congressional committees saying this doesn't happen, we don't do it, only with a FISA warrant, only with the this, it is not, mass surveillance is not occurring, blah, blah, blah. And
Lies.
Edward Snowden is working in the role of knowing he is firsthand aware. He can look at anything he wants to.
Yep.
And at the same time, he's watching on C-SPAN his boss's boss, on TV in Congress lie to the American people and say absolutely not. And that is when Edward Snowden, and this is like, I'm paraphrasing, but this is out of an interview I watched with him. I forget with who, but either way, basically, where he said that was the moment I knew I had to say something.
Yeah.
And that's when he did what he did, got the files,
He came forward as a whistleblower.
No.
I thought he came forward as a whistle. Oh, you're right.
No, he knew he was smart enough not to. They would have.
They didn't have whistleblower protection.
They would have sped his Tesla up right into a wall.
There was no Tesla then.
There are not whistleblower protections for people like that.
There are now.
No, we're good at pretending. No, there's whistleblower protections for people in factories or stuff like, hey, OSHA needs to come in here.
To say, what did he do?
He got a hold of a reporter named Glenn Greenwald.
That's right.
I forget how he did it. It's all in a documentary, a really good documentary. You can check it out if you're interested. It's a fascinating story. But basically, he very covertly, quietly got a hold of a reporter named Glenn Greenwald. Glenn Greenwald set up a meeting with him, I want to say in Hong Kong.
In a hotel room?
In a hotel room. They had to do hours and hours of interviews to get kind of his dead man switch, to get everything out, because literally they were coming for him. They missed him in Hong Kong by like a couple hours, basically.
They being the them.
Thems. Yes, were on their way for them. The men in black.
The original they thems.
But Glenn Greenwald got everything, and then he had kind of specific orders of who he was able to share it with and who he wasn't. And they put it out to the world and blasted it, and
Edward ran for his life.
Yeah, and hence he is to this day
still running.
Is in Russia, and
he said, "My only fear is that it won't matter." He basically surrendered his entire life to alert the American people, and most people probably have no idea who Edward Snowden is. It made zero difference, other than to people like Tom.
No. It didn't make zero difference. It didn't have it wasn't the crux that he
gave his life for, that's for sure.
Yes, he did. And you know what? I mean, there are men that have gave their life for 2 feet of a battlefield. Absolutely, you know what I mean? Yeah. So, I mean, it is what it is. He had a massive impact because, and I'm not trying to sound self-righteous here, but enough patriots did hear him and have carried that. Here I am today, years and years later. I have not forgotten about Edward Snowden. And many, many, many other people have not forgot about Edward Snowden. Now, I do think it's an absolute travesty that
most don't care.
No, well, and I'm going to say it, even Donald Trump of all people should pardon Edward Snowden, and he should be welcomed back as an American hero, and statues should be erected of him. Like, no doubt, that's how important he is. But no, it was not for nothing. It's just literally that long. Like, it might still come into play, and he might be vindicated while he's still alive.
Absolutely. Pray for that.
But that's the Snowdens.
Okay, that's important. It's relevant.
It's absolutely relevant. It's so similar in so many ways to this, where it's don't get caught up. Like in Snowden's case, we got caught up and he was vilified as a traitor. So it's important to know. So the government and mass media called him a traitor. But literally, you go, well, listen, hear it out. What did he do to... he told the American people what the American government was doing to them. I don't call that a traitor. A traitor is someone who takes important information in his role and gives it to a foreign government, but that is not what he did. He did it for you, for us, for the American people to know that our government was lying under oath while he knew to be the exact opposite. And he knew that it was much more egregious, much more egregious
than even he could prove.
So
there you go.
It's very similar to right now. Don't get distracted by it. It's just a bunch of girls that got raped. That's horrible. It's actually even more horrible than that. Don't get distracted by Edward Snowden's a traitor. We have to get to what's behind it, what's right behind it. And in this case, it is our own government and Israel's government sanctioned. They were okay with this. Somebody ordered an operation of this. And I believe this was a very important. This is what subverted our democracy. This was not a little forgotten about operation that just got overlooked. This was a critical, big deal.
It's still happening.
Well, I've read some things that are intriguing about that. This is all like hypothesis that I'm not.
Oh, we're wandering into the hypothesis.
Well, yeah. I mean, the other stuff I feel pretty. I feel pretty darn confident in.
I'm with you.
About they were going to end the Jeffrey Epstein operation anyways, due to the advent of AI, because now they can just produce whatever blackmail they want. They can produce the documents. They can produce the computer records. They can produce the phone records.
It's going to have the shortest lifespan, truly. I mean, we've already talked about how...
Or it's going to ruin our systems.
First, it will be a scandal. But then very quickly, I've heard this so many times already that we're going to move so quickly through this where there will no longer be... video evidence or photographic evidence allowed in court because it's so easily doctored, so easily generated that nothing can be trusted. So we're actually going to go all the way back to like witness testimony, like handwritten first draft documentation of anything.
How many years will we put up with?
Gosh, I feel like it's going to be a short turnaround, honestly.
Well, a short turnaround could be...
It could be a decade.
Could be 2 decades or, even a decade's a long time.
I bet you it's like a presidency. I feel like it's going to be so fast and so abused. Here's the deal. The enemy always freaking overplays his hand. As soon as he gets a hot minute, I mean, we're seeing it with Charlie. We saw it with September 11th. We saw it with COVID. Like, overplays his hand and ends up ruining the very mechanism that he wants to use against us. I'm talking about Satan.
I hear what you're saying, and that is true. What I'm afraid they're not going to be that stupid with it, in that like
they're going to be that stupid.
They're not going to frame you for shoplifting shampoo from Walmart.
You know what I mean? They have already put forth a supposed Donald Trump birthday letter to Epstein that is so like poorly thought out that I'm like, no, they're already overdoing it. They're already being ridiculous.
Well, I'm talking about, I think they will mostly reserve, or this is at least what this person hypothesized their plan was. I forget where I saw it. I'm sorry, I don't have the source for it. But again, it was just a hypothesis that they were already going to get rid of the Jeffrey Epstein operation. That was no longer needed to like actually physically bring these people into a blackmail situation. Okay. They were just going to start creating essentially like a dossier, kind of like the Clinton dossier, except this would come with video evidence and phone records and, like all this stuff. And they'd be able to dump it. And it would look to the public like 100%. Yeah. All the evidence is there. Mm-hmm. But it was completely generated and downloaded and put onto devices and like literally just dropped from the heavens. I will
say, based on how much the American people just absolutely gobbled up the narrative around January 6th, you're absolutely right. We throw up some flash bombs and some images of people climbing buildings, and now every single person who was in attendance is an insurrectionist, racist, bigot.
Well, and you think about it, you do that to one or two influential people where they call the bluff and be like, I'm innocent, try me.
Right,
and
yeah.
then they get the weight of that dropped on them. And the other people are the word's gonna get out. You know what I mean? That, oh no, I heard he is innocent, but he got hammered by.
That's going to happen just a handful of times. I really think.
What do you do about it? Here's
Those
the
people are going
thing.
to be the unfortunate ones to have to go first. But
If you think about it, that level of like threat, like if someone can just manufacture perfectly you being a pedophile tomorrow.
they don't even have to manufacture it. That's exactly what they did to Julian Assange. How do you say his name?
Julian Assange.
Yeah. They just said he was.
Right.
They just said he was. And
He's
people are
another important one to bring up
people
too.
are like, well, he is then.
But we don't have to.
We don't even have to manufacture. We're so asleep at the wheel. And we just absolutely gobble up our 30-second Fox News sound bites. I mean, this is what we were talking about the other day on the podcast where, we're standing in line at the TPUSA event talking to conservatives that don't like Marjorie Taylor Greene because Fox News says we don't like her anymore. Or they don't like Massey because Fox News says we don't like him anymore. It's like, oh, okay, we don't like him anymore. It's just we've got to be critical thinkers. We've got to be
I also think
consumers and investigators and questions.
this is something I think about a lot, and you and I have talked a lot over the last 6, 7, 8, 9 years, is I also think it's going to be cause for like the new Amish, is what we call it, where, I think that we live near an Amish community in Tennessee, and even before COVID, we joked about the idea of so the Amish broke off and basically stopped moving forward.
At some arbitrary day.
Well, I think their roots go back way back. But basically, they do horse and buggy, and there's different versions of Amish. The near us are like old order Amish, meaning horse and buggy, no electricity, no running water, no plumbing. It's very serious. But you think about it from a sociological standpoint, at some point they just decided to stop progressing, right? Yeah. And that's a fascinating thing for a group of humans to decide to do. And there's really not many other examples of people who choose to stop technological progress.
Let me tell you, I hung on to my 4G phone for way longer than most of you, okay?
Well, and I think we used to joke as a fun thought experiment of what if people just were like, I'm not going past, whatever, pick.
Tesla truck.
No. Well, in what I think we're coming up to, and this is a little bit of a deviation, but I think what we're talking about tonight plays into it, is, as we cross the bridge into transhumanism, where we're going to start to see humans literally mesh physically, biologically with technology.
It's wild.
I think that I would bet a paycheck that there will be a group of people, I'm going to be in that group.
Hopefully you invite me.
You can be, but you might have a bionic toe or something.
I did. Maybe break my toe last night.
But I think there will be a group of people who will say, I am not going down that road.
I will tell you right now, biblically, there better be a freaking group that decides not to take the mark of the beast.
Well, and I'll tell you right now that it's going to be a minority group that doesn't cross into transhumanism.
Always.
Because it's going to be so cool. It's going
to be necessary. It's going to be necessary. There will come a point where it will be necessary to do life like with the mark of the beast is what I'm talking about. It all of these thresholds, it's I'm not going to do online banking. Well, it becomes absolutely necessary,
right,
to do that. I've not been paid one time in physical money, not one time. It's always digitally dropped into my account. You know what I mean? You don't have an option.
Well, and I was even thinking today, my entrepreneur brain, I was literally thinking about what could transhumanism do, for you. It's man, if I had a personal assistant in my head, no, seriously, hear me out. And I could be
it's me.
No, it's not, you don't personally assist much. Okay.
Oh, Oh, hey, everybody.
You haven't called a pest control company for me or a home inspector for me or no, but I'm saying if I could be like, call this pest control, set up an appointment for this address on this day, and it just be like, all I had to do was think it, done, do this, do that, send this
You're
email.
already sold, Tom.
I'm bionic. But yet, it will be so appealing.
Attractive.
It's not that element. I'm going the mark of the beast being different from this. Like assuming we
all
actually
of these things are trial runs for the mark of the beast.
100%.
Just like the vaccine.
The mark
all
of the
these
beast
things.
is this clear, like biblically, it's like you will not be able to purchase anything without it, blah, blah.
Totally.
I'm saying there will be stuff before that you'll love before the mark of the beast.
Absolutely.
You know, like you'll already be like, I want a personal assistant in my head to help me run my business or do whatever.
Yeah.
That will come first. And it's funny because we almost have it here, but I find myself like, I got to send this email and this email and this email and this email for 5 stupid little things. But it's like, oh my gosh, if I could just think those 5 things in my head, someone's going to work on it and it's going to arrive someday.
Absolutely.
And
Isn't
some
Elon
people
doing that with the little chippies?
Well, that's literally like, I mean, not that specific software, but first he's just trying to get the Neuralink is his company or whatever. Mm-hmm. But yeah, first, we're infant stages
Neuralink,
of it.
Guys got to come up with some better. He should ask
you're going to use
AI.
Starlink to get the internet in your head, okay? You got to get the Wi-Fi in your
link
head.
the links together.
The links to the links. But needless to say, I believe there will be people who will say, I'm not going any further down this road.
Nope.
And I'm going to live in the old days of
my cell phone.
of, whatever, just GPS, and things like that. I still want directions to where I'm going to go.
Tell me I won't know it automatically.
And we'll be like the new Amish. But I say that because as these ideas
Central bank
of
digital currency is another one.
Well, they're all
where you're going to have to go into it, or I think there will be a people that will stay out of it.
Yeah, and depending on how they all converge,
Yeah.
But we're so clearly entering an age that is going to alienate some of the more.
Speaking of aliens.
Hold on. We've had 5 tangents in the last 4 minutes. We have to hold. But I think that depending on how they all converge, it's hard to say which will come first, you know what I mean, and all that. But needless to say, we're on the precipice of some radical changes in being a human, like life on Earth.
Let's take it back. So I was like, how did we get over here? Because you're saying when the AI starts putting pedophilia out there as a mechanism for blackmailing these people.
What you're saying...
some people are just going to be like, I'm
What
out.
we're saying is we were talking about how AI is just going to be able to... Yeah, you're not going to be able to believe anything you see. Now, we're already living in that paradigm. We have not fully been made aware of it yet. We should be. That's another thing we should really be aware that and right now, and I think that AI is actually as good as perfect video right now. And even the imperfections of it. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. And what we're seeing in AI is the examples you see where you're like, oh, that's AI, is intentional distortion to make it look like AI. But that will get peeled back and it will be absolutely indistinguishable when necessary.
I was going to say, the only thing, sometimes I think it's so good that the only thing that tips me off that it's AI is because a shark is probably not half on your surfboard calmly. And I'm like, that's not real. But otherwise,
I can still tell the difference because
really
whales don't ride bikes. Okay.
It looks really real, but I'm like, no, I don't believe that. That's not real. So that's how I tell. Is how unlikely is the scenario? Even if the video looks pretty real.
I think that was a big fun tangent of I think some people are just gonna bail on society.
Well, let's go back even further because that was a tangent.
And I'm gonna be one of them.
We're wrapping it up.
Bail with me. We actually have a lot of people who are bailing on that in southern Middle Tennessee.
Yeah, come on down.
And if you're one of those people that's this isn't even a real estate pitch here.
It's a little bit.
I have other agents I can refer to you just so this isn't a self promotion. But
Call my
if you're
husband.
seriously like, yeah, you know what?
We're out.
I want to live near like-minded people. We
There's
have
literally a community
incredible community.
They bake excellent sourdough bread.
The best.
The goodies you wouldn't even know. You can't even imagine. And they're healthy-ish.
Holler at us, because it's not a small area, it's not a small community, and I think it's only going to grow.
Yes.
And so yeah, there's a little.
Just to put a button on this little whole thing, there's a lot of people, and I am navigating both sides of this, that are mad at the right for fighting with the right, and I do not disagree that it is. We have to stay together as a coalition. We were talking about this morning. We do, and that was, gosh, Charlie was so good at keeping the coalition together, keeping all these different people that thought different thoughts, moving in the same direction. That is critical, and I agree with the people who are saying the right needs to stop fighting with the right. We eat our own. Absolutely. We cut ourselves off at the legs. True. Yes. But the reason why the other side is willing to cut ourselves off at the leg is because this is really, really, really important. And all of it from this point forward doesn't matter. And I don't mean to be black pilly. I mean to be like, there is a way forward, and it includes activating this base, uniting and activating a base towards the goal of this needs to be addressed. We're not going to move past it. Thank you very much. Go ahead and release the documents, and not just the documents. I'm not interested in knowing who diddled who. I am interested in that, but I'm interested in the whole story. Who is going to be brave enough to do it? But we have to stay together and point at that.
I believe that the people that don't want to fight with each other need to get on board with that's the only right answer, is we all have to press
Absolutely.
for the full truth. We all have to do it. So instead of being more worried about fighting with each other, come on board with Thomas Massey, come on board with Marjorie Taylor Greene. We come on board with the American people, because that's what we're doing this for. Mm-hmm. We have to get your whole
kids,
truth.
Your grandkids.
Absolutely.
Yes. So it's worth fighting for, even if we have to fight each other, but we don't have to fight each other if you guys would get over here on this side and be like, we're not moving on. This needs to be addressed. Don't call it a hoax. And it is okay to be critical of Trump and also support Trump. Charlie did that very well. But this is what I always remind my sweet husband, is Charlie had a way of getting them to move in the direction he wanted them to move. Getting Trump, to hear what the American people are saying. Like, hey, you're not going to want to skimp on this one, because I got 700 emails about this when I talked about it on my show. You're not going to want it. It's not going to be okay to just brush it under the rug. He had a way of being constructive and moving the narrative, in the direction it needs to go. We do need to still do that. Those of you who are being fighty and sassy, keep up the fight, being sassy, but be constructive. Educate others and encourage. Don't discourage, so that people are like, whatever, it's never going to matter. Nothing's ever good.
Also, for those who are discouraged, like, we are right now, we're winning. Today, we're winning.
We're closer than we've ever been.
Absolutely. And that's all that matters. So, yeah, we have had some rough, anxious conversations, like...
This is the new founding of this country right now. It's unfolding. There's a rebirth happening, a restructuring, a conserving, going back to the beginning and starting fresh with those principles that were never broken, reestablishing the Constitution, all of those things. It's an exciting time. There's a lot to hope for. Absolutely. Anything else?
No, we're winning.
We're winning. Trump always wins.
Why'd you have to end with Trump always wins?
Because I listen to Coffee and COVID, and...
No, America is winning.
I know,
we're
but
going
Trump
to win.
does get a lot of wins.
That was a weird thing to throw in at the end. Trump always wins?
Oh, gosh. Well, Trump's an American. You said we're winning. He's winning.
Okay.
We're all winning. Everybody's
well,
winning.
It's about America winning.
Okay, great.
Okay.
America's winning. Thank you. Subscribe. Thanks for joining us on the Modern Watchman podcast.
Remember, truth isn't just something we believe, it's something we live out every day.
Stay alert, stay discerning, and don't lose sight of the hope we have in Christ.
Until next time,
Be watchmen.